Let's recite a Surah Fatiha for the marhum and for all of your marhumin, inshallah. Surah Al-Fatiha. Bismillah. Inshallah, just every day we'll just go through some ahkam because it is the month of Ramadan and a lot of people I see that might not know certain rules regarding fasting and other things. So first thing is that siyam or fasting is wajib unless you have a udhr shar'i. Like, for example, you are traveling or that you are sick and unable to fast because of health reasons. But other than that, fasting is wajib for every Muslim who is an adult. And if you miss a fast, then the only way to make it up is to fast 60 days consecutively after Ramadan. So the kafara of missing a fast is 60 days of fasting consecutively, meaning for 2 months you have to fast. There they allowed you to, the first month you can make it 31 days, you can do it consecutively, and the next 29 you can keep it on and off. But 60 days has to be done in order to make up one fast of Ramadan. So keep that in mind when we, for example, are fasting. This is not something that is light-hearted. It is a very serious thing. Fasting is the gift, according to Imam Sadiq alayhi salam, is the gift that Allah gave to the Ummah of Muhammad. Only Muslims have been given the obligation of fasting, not Jews, not Christians, not any other nation before this. They can fast, whatever they wear, but nothing. And the person who heard this from Imam Sadiq said, but we hear about, the Anbiya of the past fasting about this. He said, yes, Allah made it a wajib on the Anbiya, not their ummah. Only the Anbiya were told to fast because it is a obligation that Allah holds so dear, He doesn't want to give it to anyone except those whom He respects. And Allah respects the ummah of Rasulullah. So He gave this fasting. And hence this is something that Allah takes seriously. So just a hukum regarding that. We will go through more things inshallah afterwards. Let's send the salawats. حسبنا الله ونعم الوكيل نعم المولى ونعم النصير أعوذ بالله من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين سيدنا ومولانا أبي القاسم محمد وعلى آله الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين سيما بقية الله الأعظم روحي وأرواح العالمين له الفداء رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. The subject that I chose is life. What is life and understanding life, because it is preliminary to understanding everything else in Islam. For example, why do you do matam for? And whatever reasons that you hear from people, they're all wrong. Right? Matam and azadari has an essential role in our life, the structure of our life. What is that? Inshallah, we'll get to know. Or, for example, fasting and prayer. Why do you pray for? Allah made it wajib. Well, yes, Allah made it wajib, but where does it fit? I mean, what does it have to do with me? That has to be understood. There's a purpose behind it. And those are the mechanisms that we want to understand, and the only way to understand it is by understanding life. My friends, what is the first ajr or reward or good ni'mat that Allah gives to a mu'min? Is it the wilayat of Imam Ali alayhi salam? Send us salawats. Is it the risalat of Rasulullah? What is the first thing that Allah gives a mu'min? He mentions it in the Quran. The first thing that Allah gives as, you can say, a ni'mat, a blessing to a mu'min, لَنُحْيِيَنَّهُمْ حَيَاةً طَيِّبَةً. We give them life. We give them life. The first thing Allah gives is life. That's what He gives. Life is something that needs to be understood by us. And because we don't understand life, then everything else in our life, what's happening in our life, is misunderstood by us, and it creates problems and confusion in our life as to what happens. That's why most people live their life incorrectly. They have the wrong priorities, they have the wrong ideas. Even their prayers, they don't know what it means. That's why they're frustrated with their prayers. They don't know, where does it fit in my life? So these are things that I just want to mention this. We need to have a definition of life where we can respect life and that we can thank Allah for giving this to us. First of all, we need to have the correct version of life, the correct definition of life is beautiful. It is exciting. I will go through that. Life has 3 dimensions, and I will mention that. You will not understand life without the 3 dimensions of life that Allah mentions. And since we don't understand them, we don't know where things fit. I will go through all of that. But right now, the thing is that life is beautiful. We have a terrible way of looking at life. You see this. Everyone, for example, they are like, you know what, I'm trying to make good with my life. I'm trying to improve my life. You see, you hear these things, right? Inshallah, my life is headed in the right direction. It will be good soon. So what Allah gave you is terrible, and now you're trying to rectify what Allah did wrong by making it good. If you look at, for example, parents, how they talk to their children, they're like, you should educate yourself, go to college, otherwise you'll be flipping hamburgers in McDonald's. What? In other words, listen, life is a terrible thing Allah gave us, so we have to do something to fix it. What are you talking about? What a horrible way of looking at life. That is such a terrible way of looking at things. That's not what Allah gave us. Allah gave us something beautiful, something exciting, something remarkable. But our view of it is so warped that when we look at life, it is a terrible thing that we have to fix now. It was a mistake that was done, that now I have to fix what life is. So this is why, because of this wrong idea, we approach life so incorrectly. And we have such a frustrating, because this sort of thinking leads to frustration, leads to hopelessness. That's why a lot of people are hopeless, frustrated. Inshallah, I will make something of my life. What do you mean, something of my life? Life is great. I don't need to change anything in life. The way Allah gave it is amazing. In other words, we don't understand what life is. And hence we are running after the wrong things. Salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. A lot of people you'll hear ask, why did Allah make me? Why did Allah create me? Now, this question, right? I'm not going to answer the question, right? But I'm just going to say this. Listen, Why are you even asking this question? You know why you're asking this question? Why did Allah make me for? You're asking this question because you're not having fun. You're not enjoying life. You're having a miserable life, don't you? Because if you were having fun and if you were, enjoying yourself, if you were in, let's say, Jannat, if you're in Jannat with all the, amazing things of Jannat, let's say, would you ask this question? For example, you're having fun, this and that. Would you ask, why am I here? Why am I here? You want to ask these questions, right? The only reason you ask these questions is because you're bored. Your life is miserable. Your life is tedious. For example, you're sitting at an opera. There you ask, well, what am I doing here? Because it's boring. You don't understand what's going on. That's where you ask these things, For example, the kids asking a majlis, what am I doing here? Okay, they're asking the right question. Of course they're bored. They should ask it. But if they're having fun, if they're doing something to have fun, would they ask that question? No, the very appearance of this question shows that you're not happy with your life. If you knew what life is, and if you're happy with it, if you're enjoying it, you wouldn't even be asking such a question. So this is something I'm trying to just make our minds focus on. The answers will come. I'm just trying to, in these speeches, these 1-2 speeches, just to give an introduction to the subject as to life. We're living it. We're going through it. But a lot of us haven't learned it. Unfortunately, we learned it from the wrong places. Where did we learn how to live our life? By looking at, elders, neighbors, like, for example, a lot of Desi people have learned life from Hindi movies, if you watch Bollywood, that's where you learn how to live your life, how to say these things, what are priorities, this and that. Inshallah, nowadays it's a little bit less. But I remember in my young days, that's what used to be the standard of learning. No one used to read the Quran to study it. Or, for example, Hadith. It used to be from these sort of things, unfortunately, but that is the case. So now we see that, okay, where did we learn life from? So we learned it from the wrong places. So a lot of people I see are living it incorrectly. And we need to find out how to live it correctly. That is something that we are going to be talking about. Let's send the salawats. Imam Hussain alayhi salam in this hadith, in this statement that he made, he said, Inni la ara al-maut illa sa'ada. He says, I don't view death except as something really good. Something that is really like sa'adat. You know what sa'adat means. Really, something that's really good. Happiness. The only way to look at death is happiness. That's really happy. وَالْحَيَاةُ مَعَ الظَّالِمِينَ إِلَّا بَرَمًا. I don't view life with ظالمين, living under oppression and tyranny, except as humiliation, a disgrace. It is awful to live under oppressors. Awful. You feel like suffocated. That is Imam Hussein's view. He felt suffocated living under Yazid. He couldn't breathe. It was so difficult to live in that situation. Why? Because life is respected. Life should be respected. And you disrespect it by living under Zalimeen. And this is really the case a lot of times. And there must be a reason, but inshallah that's not my topic, but as a side note, there must be a reason why we are living under kuffar and zalimeen. If there's no reason, then we should be suffocating here. We should be like, Allah, get me out of this. Get me out of this. I don't want to live except under the Imam of the time, except under Imam Mahdi. And if I am living here, it must be for a reason that is for you. You know, this is the view of Imam Hussein. That's what Imam Hussein thought. So it's really interesting to note that, right? But he mentions death, and sometimes I'm just going to mention this today, death, since we are speaking about death today, that life, one of the ways of understanding life is by understanding death, viewing death correctly. Because a lot of us don't view death correctly or don't understand the depth of it. What is death? So let me just explain that in the few minutes that we have. Salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. We need to rectify our understanding of death in order to rectify our understanding of life. You want to know life? Understand death first. What is death? Allah mentions death in the Quran. He says, Kullu nafsin dha'iqatul maut thumma ilayna turja'un. He says, everyone will taste death. Death is a reality that everyone must pass through the door of death. No one denies death. No one can deny death. No one can say there is no death. No one rejects death. They reject the one who gives death, but they don't reject death. They reject Allah who is giving death, but they don't reject death. They know that death is a reality. There's no way that, you know what, we all are going to die. Everyone's going to die. So everyone understands that death is there. And that's why Allah also, when He introduces Himself, He introduced Himself by death before hayat. Right? خَلَقَ الْمَوْتَ وَالْحَيَاةِ. He says, this is me, Allah, I created death. The thing that you don't deny and reject, I'm the one who created it. See that Allah specifies that. If you understood what is death, then understand me also. So death is something that everyone is going to go through. Now what happens is that how you view death is important. Because death is something that we are going to go back. We are going to go back to Allah. But Allah, He says, wait a minute, you're not coming back to me. Because if I gave you the freedom, hey, you know what, when you die, either you come back or stay there. How many people will go back to Allah? No, He says, Tumma ilayna turjaun. Then you will be brought back to me. Yes, they will drag you back to me. No one will be given a choice after this death. So let's see. Your view of death will define you. Will define you. How do you view death, my friends? Because every human being, they are together when it comes to death. It is after death when everyone separates. Everyone separates after death. For example, a mu'min has a different view of death, and a kafir has a different view of death. Allah speaks about the kafir, one who rejects Allah. Allah speaks about him and says, what is the view of the kafir regarding death? When he sees death, what did he see? He says, Ma hiya illa hayatuna dunya namutu wa nahya. The life of this world, this is it. We live here, we die here. وَمَا يُهْلِكُنَا إِلَّا الدَّهَرِ. The only thing that destroys us is time. This is the view of whom? Those who reject Allah. Those who reject Allah, they look at death and say, this death is it. That's the ending of everything. So this life, live it, and after this, there's nothing. Allah is saying, this is the view of a kafir. This is the view of someone who rejects Allah. This is his view. Now, what is the view of a mu'min? Allah speaks about that also. He says, this is the view of a mu'min. How does he look at that? He says, الَّذِينَ إِذَا أَصَابَتْهُمْ مُصِيبَةٌ قَالُوا إِنَّا لِلَّهِ وَإِنَّا إِلَيْهِ رَاجِعُونَ. This is a quote of Allah from a Muslim. From a Muslim in the battlefield, Allah quotes him and says that this Muslim, one who believes in Allah, is someone that when this musibat comes to him, he says, we are from Allah, we belong to Allah, and we will return to Allah. In other words, death is a door that leads to Allah. This is what a mu'min believes in. This is what a mu'min believes in, my friends. This is the view of death that is important for us to know. What is death? Death is that which divides a mu'min and a Muslim, and a kafir. Kafir who rejects Allah says this is it. Mu'min who believes in Allah says no, this is the door towards Allah. We are going back to Him. Send us salawats. Now when you look at this, I'll say one more ayat for you. So that we understand what this is. Right? Here Allah speaks about who? Mu'min. He says, Min al-rijal sadaqu ma ahadullaha alayhi. Amongst men are those who are truthful to the promise they made with Allah. They have been truthful. They made a promise to Allah and they were standing on it. They were honest about their promise. And then when they were honest, then Allah says, وَمِنْهُمْ مَنْ قَضَى نَحْبَهُ. Amongst them are those who died. وَمِنْهُمْ مَنْ يَنْتَظِرُ. And amongst them are those who are doing intizar of maut. See this intizar? Allah uses that word. Mu'min is someone who's waiting to die. Mu'min is someone who's waiting to die. He's not like, inshallah, death comes to all of us. When it comes to us, no one knows. No, Baba, a mu'min is someone, inshallah, I am waiting to die. Allah, I'm coming. I'm coming. Whenever he walks out of Az-Zahra center, he views the graveyard and says, soon I will be amongst you. Soon I will be lying next to you. He's like waiting to go there. He's waiting. He's not like, inshallah, if it comes, it'll come by accident. Maut doesn't come to him by accident. He's waiting for it. When it comes, he knows it. Here it is. Here it is. You see that? Allah gives this psychology of a mu'min. Mu'min psychology is that he's waiting for death. And what about kuffar? What is their psychology when it comes to looking at death? How does a kafir look at death? Allah speaks about Jews in the Quran. Surah Jum'ah. Ya ayyuhalladhina hadu. In za'amtum annakum awliya'u lillahi wa min dunin nas fatamannaw al-maut. We have liberals amongst Muslims who want to get rid of this chapter because it's very insulting towards Jews. They say, it can't be from Allah because Allah doesn't insult people. Sorry, man. When Allah gives death, insult is a very far thing. He is the one who's killing everyone. He gives life, He gives death. Where did you get this thinking from? So this ayat, Allah is saying to the Jews, if you claim to be friends of Allah and that others are not friends, that you are closer to Allah, then wish for your death. Pray for it. Why don't you wish for your death? Because when you die, you'll come to me. Why aren't you wishing for your death? If you were honest, you would be wishing to die. If you are friends of Allah, you'll be wishing that Allah, please take me so I can come to you. You'll be wishing for that. Then Allah says, فَإِنَّ الْمَوْتَ الَّذِي تَفِرُّونَ مِنْهُ. That this death that you are running away from, tafirruna means farar, that you are running away from, it's going to catch up to you. It doesn't matter where you want to hide, how many walls you want to make, how many skyscrapers you want to make and hide in the penthouse, it's going to come and get you. You can't run away from it. Death is coming to you. So you see, a kafir is someone who's running away from death. A mu'min is someone who's waiting for death. He doesn't run away from death. He's like expecting it. Come on. Here you are. I've been waiting for you for such a long time. That's how it is. So now, whenever you want to see a mu'min or a kafir, then go into any field of death. You will know who is a mu'min and who is a kafir. Who's real, who's fake. There you will understand who's real and who's fake. For example, you see one scene of death came in the battlefield of Uhud. When death came in the battlefield of Uhud, those who were real stood in front of death and waited for it. And those who were phony and fake started running. Those who are real and those who are fake are known when they come face to face with death. Those who are that's all we need to know. This is what death is, my friends. Having the correct view of death is important. Then you will understand what life is. Like life, death is a journey. It is a journey. We need to go in that journey. Long journey. Because it's taking you from here all the way there. Speaking of journey, just since we are talking about death, let me give you one other angle of looking at it. Right? Send a salawats. Speaking of journey, right? For example, like Hajj is a journey. Ziyarat is a journey. Now, I have been taking Hajj groups for a long time and Ziyarat groups for a long time. Now, when you look at these groups, every time it happens in Hajj, in Ziyarat, mostly in Hajj, because Hajj is like very difficult trip and a long trip and an enduring trip and all that. So the question that people have a lot of questions when it comes to journey and travel. They have a lot of questions, and I am very patient and I try to answer all the questions for everyone. Why? Because they really need to know. Right? So, for example, they'll ask, Maulana, what should we take with us? A good question. What should we take with us? Please give us a list of things to take. And they will go through things, How about snacks, cereal, this, that, okay. They go through all of that. So I go through all of that, fine. There is one journey, any journey that you're going to take. There's one rule, golden rule. One simple golden rule. You know what that rule is? That you want to take something with you that you don't get there. Right? If you don't get medicine there, take your medicines. If you don't get your cornflakes there, take your cornflakes. Anything, right? If you don't get your chewing gum there, take your chewing gum. Hey, don't go there and tell me, Maulana, you didn't say that, it's not here. You ask me first and make sure you know. So, whatever is not there in Saudi, in Mecca and Medina, I will tell you what to take, what not to take. Don't take things that are available there. Don't take ihram from here. It's just adding to the weight in your suitcase. You can get ihram there, dime a dozen. Every store has ihram there. The store might be selling vegetables, but it has ihram on the side. Everyone sells ihram there. That is what you sell in Makkah and Medina. This is like, you don't need to take it with you, right? This is the case. So all the time, anytime, the golden rule is that take things that are not there and don't take things that are there. Don't take things that are there. So when it comes to Hajj, my friends, when it comes to Hajj, I can tell you, I've been there. So I can tell you, hey, take this, don't take this, right? But how about maut? How about death? See, there's a technical problem. No one who has gone there ever came back to tell us what's available there and what's not available, right? No one who has died has come back to tell us, hey, you know what, you need to take this there. It's not there. Or don't take this, you have a lot of it there. Okay, very good. Yeah, I don't know, it could be anything. For example, after you die, he says, hey, listen, don't take fire from here. There's enough of it there. Salawat. So what happened is that everyone, it's no one who went there came back to tell us. So we need to go to people who know both dunya and akhirat. And obviously, for us, we found someone who has said that I know the roads of akhirat more than I know the roads of this dunya. So we found Imam Ali. He said, I know akhirat more than I know this dunya. Ask me about there. So we want to ask him, Ya Imam Ali, we want to take this journey of maut, going to that side. What should we take with us? And what shouldn't we take with us? You tell us. So Imam Ali in one sentence said it. In one sentence. He said it. He says, listen, this is my list for you to take for akhirat, for your death. My list of things. It's not a big list, my friends. It's just one sentence. Imam Ali said, Al-yawm hisabun wala amal wa ghadan amalun wala hisab. He says, listen, here there is actions, amal, good deeds, wajibat. That's all here. The one thing that's not here is hisab. No one will take account of you. No one will audit you. No one will ask you. There's no asking here. There's no questioning here. There's no interrogation here. That's something you don't get here. What you get here are good deeds. What you get here is amal. Ghadan, tomorrow. Hisabun, there will be hisab. There will be questioning. There will be interrogation. Wala amal, there will not be amal in akhirat. They will never, there's no chance of doing any good thing when you die. No chance. Everything is here for you. There you have no chance of it, my friends. A person raised in the day of judgment, good person, mu'min, everything. He missed a morning prayer. He missed Fajr one day in his life. The angel will tell him, you missed a Fajr. Here. He'll be like, I missed a Fajr? Yes, you missed a Fajr. All right, give me 2 minutes, I'll make it right now. He says, no, sorry. Sorry. You had the chance there. Here, there's no amal. There's no amal here. You owed this money to this person. Not that much also. $25.13. $25. I left so much inheritance there. Let me take it from it. He says, sorry. There's no chance for you to do that here. Now for you to pay it, it will be different accounting. Years. I mean, small things will be years over there. 1,000 years to pray for 2 rakat. My friends, this is it. You want to take something for your debt? Then take your actions. Take your wajibat. Take good deeds from here. This is the only place you can get them. This is the only place you can get them. Not in Akhirat. There's no chance of it in Akhirat. Not even a small thing. You would die to just do a small thing so you can rectify it, so you don't have to pay for it there. Said no chance. Wow. Subhanallah. That's it, my friends. That's all. How long you live doesn't matter here. Really doesn't matter. How you live matters here. How you live matters here. Yeah, someone can live for 100 years, it's useless. Someone live 30 years, he has done so much. How you live in those years, the ratio of deeds you have done matters. Really, that's what matters. How long doesn't matter. How you live your life matters. Bibi Fatima lived for 18 years. Her life mattered. Sayyidatun Nisa al-Alameen, chief of the women of the world, 18 years old. He died at 18. She didn't live a long life that she's a grandmother and all. No, my friends, 18 years. Subhanallah. Friends, Bibi Sakina lived for 4 years. The daughter of Imam Hussain lived for 4 years, and she has impressed so many people. She has won the hearts of so many people. Imagine this. Subhanallah. Friends, how long you live doesn't matter. What you did in your life matters. What you did in your life matters. La ilaha illallah. Bibi Sakina, she missed Imam Hussain a lot. She missed him a lot. Who won't miss Imam Hussain? I wish you could see those eyes of Imam Hussain that Bibi Sakina fell in love with. I wish you could see that face of Imam Hussain that Bibi Sakina fell in love with. It was so beautiful that she looked everywhere. She didn't want to see anything. Nothing was appealing to her after she saw Imam Hussain, her father. What can I say, my friends? Just one thing. It is said that in the dungeon where she was kept as prisoner, there was a small window that would bring in light. That's it, a small opening. And Bibi Sakina would just go to that window and she would just stare outside at the people outside. From her height, she couldn't see the street. She could only see above the trees where the birds are. And she would see the birds coming on the trees and then going away. So she asked Bibi Zainab, that Aunt Zainab, where these birds, when they come, where are they going? They said they come here and then they go back to their home. She said, when will we be going to our home again? She would always be questioning, when will we go home? When can we go back to her home? And she would say these things all the time. And she would wish to go back home. She would pray to go back home and she would be asking. And the ladies would say, soon inshallah, soon we will go back home. But as Allah's decree would have it, that Sakina breathed her last in that dungeon, in that prison. She breathed her last. They made a grave for her, a small grave. And then when the ladies left, they left with a heavy heart. That Sakina, you always wanted to go back home. We are going back home, but you're not coming with us. سيعلم الذين ظلموا أي منقلب ينقلبون يا محمود بحق محمد يا الله بحق علي يا فاطر السماوات بحق فاطمة Ya Muhsin bihaqq Hassan, Ya Qadeemul Ahsan bihaqq Hussain. Allah, give us the tawfiq to be on the right path, to give us the wisdom to understand your guidance. Hasten the reappearance of our Imam. Make us his helper when he comes. O Allah, we ask you to accept this ibadat from us. O Allah, we ask you that all these children who are here, protect our children from the evils of the society. Keep them firm on the path of Ahlul Bayt. Allah, increase the love of Ahlul Bayt in our hearts and in their hearts. And keep us attached to Ahlul Bayt until we reach you. وآخر الدعوانا أن الحمد لله رب العالمين صلوات على محمد وآل محمد. I don't know how much time we have. If anyone has any questions. No time? Okay. Okay, very good. So inshallah, if there's any questions and all that, we'll do it from tomorrow.